Fidelity High, the people you dig, the records they love.
Tom Morello is a political activist and founding member of the bands Rage Against the Machine, Audioslave, and Street Sweeper Social Club. He also records solo albums as the Nightwatchman. After appearing on many songs featured on Bruce Springsteen's 18th studio album, High Hopes, he became a member of the E Street Band from 2013 to 2014. This year, he formed Prophets of Rage, a new supergroup comprised of his Rage Against the Machine bandmates, along with the legendary Chuck D of Public Enemy, Be Real of Cypress Hill, and DJ Lord. They recently released their debut EP, The Party's Over.
Hi, this is Tom Morello. My Fidelity High is the Sex Pistols, never mind the Bollocks. I first became aware of the Sex Pistols via, I think, Cream magazine when I was in junior high. I remember being literally afraid of punk rock music. Like I was 11, 12, and I thought this is something that's going to hurt me or eventually drive a safety pin into me. And it's like they're spitting and they're vomiting and they're cutting, and it just was I just thought this is a terrifying thing, and I hope it never comes to our shores. At the time, I was a fan of like rock and metal music, and I had a guitar that my mom purchased for me for $50 when I was 13 years old. I took 2 guitar lessons trying to learn a Led Zeppelin song and a Kiss song. I failed abysmally. I thought, guitar stinks, and it sat in a closet. Cut to 4 years later when I purchased the Sex Pistols' Nevermind the Bollocks cassette. I'm not certain what the impetus was, but I know that my feelings had changed about the idea of punk rock music as something that I might be open to. It might have some of the promise of heavy metal. I bought that cassette. I popped it in the cassette player of my mom's aqua blue Honda Accord LX, and I was driving to a friend's house down the street. I never made it into the friend's house because I stayed in the driveway listening to that cassette again and again and again, losing my fucking mind. Like I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that someone had discovered music that was that incredible and that awesome. The song, Anarchy in the UK in particular, was the jam that I played over and over again. Within 24 hours, I was in a band. I went to the drama club, which I was a member of the Libertyville High School Drama Club. I went to the drama club the next day, remembering that I had a guitar in my closet that I could not play a single note on or a single chord. And I said, the first 3 people that raise their hands are in a band with me. 3 people raised their hand. One young man aspired to play drums, had never played drums before, didn't own drumsticks. He was the drummer. One guy played saxophone in the marching band. He was a saxophone player. And another guy who really liked Mick Jagger was the singer. And I was in a band within 24 hours of purchasing the Sex Pistols cassette without knowing how to play a single note or chord on the guitar. If I'm going to play the Sex Pistols' Nevermind the Bollocks for the first time for somebody, I would definitely start with Anarchy in the UK. Frankly, it's one of the all-time great records, but there's only 4 songs you need to listen to on it. Holidays in the Sun, Pretty Vacant, Anarchy in the UK, and God Save the Queen. There's the others, Submission and Bodies are great punk rock anthems, but if you've got 4 of the all-time great punk jams on one record, you're doing pretty well. And the last thing I'll say about that record is the reason why it connected with me and made it literally compelled me to become a musician, because all of the music that I liked before, it was hard, it was aggressive, but it felt like you needed to have a $10,000 Les Paul in order to play it. You would need to have a wall of Marshall amps. You needed to have groupies and limos and a mansion on a Scottish loch in order to be in a band. I didn't have any of that shit. I had my mom's basement. And when I heard Nevermind the Bollocks, it was clearly songs that were written in somebody's mom's basement, played by people whose skill level was not much higher than my non-existent skill level, and yet they were making music that to me was more compelling than Stairway to Heaven.